Hi, this is Shirley from Shirley's World. And this is my daily vlog I've been doing or trying to do every day just to keep in touch with people. Because it's not natural to just stay put for such a long period of time. It's not that I do that much in normal times, but when you know that you should just stay in the house or on your property and not actually see people in person. I'm sorry. I think it's a mental thing. I'm sure it is. Hey, kitty. So here I am. Yes, my thermometer broke. I have an extra one, but it's just as old as the one I was using. So I don't know how long it'll last. Hi, Bumblebee. Yeah, my thermometer broke. I took my temperature went to take my temperature last night, and it beeped like it was done. And then I looked at it and says ER, which means error. And I looked on the little pamphlet. This is my broken one. Look, it matches me. Is it any surprise I got a purple one? When I looked on the instructions, this is the only instructions I had. I think they're pretty much all the same, these oral, these type of fever thermometers. But it said on number 9, if ERR displays and the measurement is not attainable, the unit must be replaced. Period. Performance of the device may be degraded. Operated outside of step. I may have done this myself, to tell you the truth, because it was reading all along. I never got above 97.8. I have low temperature. I know that anyway. Never got above 97.8. I mean, sometimes I didn't even get hardly to 97. And so I thought maybe it isn't working. So I did stick it under some warm water. I thought it was just warm. I didn't think it was hot. It wasn't hot, just warm, and it shot up to 107. So who knows? I could have broken my thermometer. It did. I think it did take my temperature once after that, and then now it won't. Like I said, I do have another one that seems to be working. But this morning, I try not to take my temperature more than once a day. I mean, before this, it was years that I take before. I can't even remember the last time I took my temperature. So they've been sitting around. I don't know how old they are. I have no idea when I got them. But it read 98.2. And believe it or not, that kind of made me worry. Because on the other thermometer, I was never getting above 97 something, but it could have been because it was dying, or I don't know. 98.2 wasn't anything. So I waited an hour and took it again as 98. I know I don't have a temperature. I mean, I'm cool. Right after I took my temperature as 98.2, I immediately got stressed, and I noticed my lips were getting numb. So I must have been hyperventilating. I mean, what is wrong with me? I used to be an ER nurse. Nothing upset me. Oh, this is so annoying. But I did go on because I told my daughter it was broken. I did have an old one. She says she only has one. And if I go on and find any, she says order a couple of them because she needs a spare. So I went online and I searched and searched and searched everywhere. Online, Amazon, eBay. I even went to each individual drugstore. I called the ones around here. Nobody has them. They're all out. Now you can order them online. You can order them from Amazon. There are some you can order that just don't say out of stock. But I think the soonest it'll be delivered is April 17th or after. It's the or after. It could come anywhere. And I think these are all coming from China, you know. Normally that would really bother me, is coming from China at this time. But now, I mean, the virus is all over the place. So, you know, what's the difference? So that was today's or last night's emergency. I broke my thermometer. Luckily, I have another one. Hopefully, it'll work until I can get my hands on a new one. I mean, I could order. I mean, these are fairly cheap. You know, you can order. These are only like $6 to $12 online. I could order, and they are available, the thermoscan ones that you measure your temperature either in your ear or on your forehead. Yeah, they have those. They're like close to $100. I'd like to avoid getting one of those if I could, but it's always they're always available. After I'd talked to my daughter, she only had one pair of gloves. She went to Target yesterday. She had to go to Target for something. She wore a mask and gloves. I said, "Did anybody look at you strangely?" And she says, "No, not really." So she said there was some woman in Target that was in her bathrobe. It was a regular bathrobe and slippers. And her hair was a mess, like she had just crawled out of bed. I mean, that doesn't make you feel good. Michelle says, I stayed aisles away from her. But anyway, she, what was I going to say about that? Target. She says she likes, as compared to the other stores that have a whole bunch of cars in front of them still, like Walmart, you'd never know something was going on. The parking lot is full. So she goes to Target. There's a lot less people. You're able to stay your 6 feet away. And she says you self-checkout. And I have this for itchy thing. I cleaned it. So if I get an itch, I can use this. Anyway, she says they clean, as soon as you're done, they clean it all off for the next person. She liked that about it. So I don't know. She said, well, here's what I was going to say. She said when she, well, I always knew I had a lower temperature. I might need just new batteries. Well, that's a different reading it has on it. If it needs new batteries, that could have been on there too. How am I going to get new batteries? I don't have any. They take a little disc thing, you know. Now that I said now. you know, you just, your face just starts to itch. You're just increasing my anxiety by taking, I know, but that's one of the rules. You're supposed to take your temperature every day. I'm just following the rules, trying to. Anyway, my daughter got home from Target, and she said she washed her hands with her gloves on to wash her gloves. I said, "Why are you washing your gloves? Don't you have the rubber glove? You know, the regular throwaway gloves?" She says, "I can't throw them away. I only have one pair." I said, "One pair? You're not supposed to use them more than once." I mean, how many times has she washed them? I don't know. But I said, "I'm going to send you a care package." So today I mailed out a package of gloves, bunch of gloves, and masks. I don't know how many masks she has, probably one or two. And what else? That's all, gloves and masks. I priority mailed it to her because I couldn't figure out on Click and Ship when you do your own mailing from the post office thing. It's not like when you do it from eBay and you can pick first class. I couldn't figure out a way to pick first class on the Click and Ship. It only gave the priority shipping. So I mailed it in the priority, the cardboard envelope, you know, which is $7 and something, almost $8. But I couldn't figure out the way to do first class shipping. There should be a way, wouldn't you think? You can raise your temperature by running around or doing dishes. I know. I think I had just come in from doing the chickens and yeah. You don't think there's a need to take my temperature if I don't feel feverish? Okay. That would save on the batteries. I probably should order one of those thermometers, though, and just wait for it, you know, however long it takes. Oh, today's project is to learn pirate ship. Okay. Do I need my phone? I got my taxes back today. That was in the mail. My taxes are back. They're A-okay. I didn't owe any money, believe it or not. In fact, I got money back that will go toward my estimated taxes, because there's a bunch of stuff from way before that he uses every year. There were a bunch of losses from something, probably stocks, before I changed my stock person. And put everything in safe stuff. When I was looking on my Pinterest, I went on Pinterest. I used to do Pinterest all the time, so I have a whole lot of pages, or whatever they call them, on there, and so many pictures. It's so nice to go through them and see them. I have a million recipes on there too. And I've had the thermometer say error if it just got a bad start, like a blood pressure cuff. I've tried it. I tried it like 3 times though, and it still did it. So, but the other one is working so far. So good. I was out with the chickens because, of course, little Daisy was almost to the deck. She had gotten out as usual. And she was, I think, coming to knock on my back door. She gets out and then she wants to get back in again. I don't know if she knows that she can fly both ways, you know? I don't understand how she never flies back in. She just runs almost to my doorstep. I don't know if she wants me to come out and play or what. I'm sure if I left my back door open, which I can't do because I don't want Mama Cat to get out, because it's still good. It gets cold at night and she's way too skinny to survive any frigid weather. Plus I have a bird dog. My dog would, without any hesitation, go after the chicken if she came in the house. So I can't do that. But I'll bet anything, if I left the back door open, Daisy would just figure out, she'd hop up on the deck and just come right in. Anyway, I put them out in the yard. Then two of them immediately wanted to go back. So they're on the nest. So, you know, they had to lay an egg. So there's only 5 of them in the big yard, and 3 of them are back in the regular run where they can get to the coop. But I walked around some outside. It was bright and not really sunny, but it's nice. It's like close to 60 degrees out, and the birds are chirping. And I noticed in my gardens things are popping up. So spring is coming, no matter what. Spring will come. Spring will come. It's Dexter groaning when he lays down and curls up, and then he takes a big sigh and a groan before he goes off to sleep. The birds are chirping, the birds are mating, the birds are going to have little ones. Nothing's changed out there. It's only with humans, evidently. I've had lots of announcements saying that animals aren't affected by this. They can't catch it. I hope that's true. Or we can't catch it from animals. I don't know if that's true or not, because I had heard it was from a bat. I heard it was from a bat out of the rainforest. So who knows if that's true? That was a China thing. But anyway, so spring is going to come, and hopefully they're saying by May, Ohio is supposed to reach the peak, our peak, the worst it's going to get in May. And by that time, they're announcing that we will be getting, the state of Ohio, 8,000 cases a day. A day. That's not good for me here. That's why I don't listen to the TV. One good thing that just flashed across my phone before I came on here, but the House just passed the bill for the money. So my daughter will be so happy to hear about that. She is the one hurting right now. And my son, I just pray that they stop that job that he's on. And they're a 4-person family, so they're going to get, I think the president said $3,400 and something a month. And I mean, that's enough for groceries and stuff. So I don't know how much a single person will get, and I don't know how much somebody my age on Social Security will get. I have no idea. But I've already decided I'm just going to set that aside, because my daughter is She is the one that's in trouble. So she never did have a huge savings. She had some, but it's dwindling fast. So one thing this is helping her, she's not eating fast foods. She's actually getting stuff from the grocery store and making stuff at home, which is so much healthier for her because she was a drive-through junkie for food. She'd never think about eating till she was starving, and then she didn't want to go home and fix something. You know, it would take too much time, so she'd just stop at McDonald's or Wendy's or wherever and get something fast. So it wasn't even a good for her thing, like a salad. It was, you know, fries and stuff. So, yeah, I do eat a lot of carbs. I shouldn't talk. I eat pastry and cake. Those are my favorites. And when it gets warm, ice cream. I've even eaten ice cream this winter, which is rare for me to do. But I had a taste for mint chocolate chip ice cream. I was saying, do you know my eyes itching? I was saying about Pinterest. I went on Pinterest and I came across, I think it's under music, the most moving music or something like that. And on there, of course, is Pavarotti. I love Pavarotti. I saw him in person. I was lucky enough way back. I think I was probably when, I don't know, maybe close to 40 years old. In that area. I don't know. He came to Cleveland and it was an outside concert in the old Browns Stadium. And a friend of mine who now is suffering from Alzheimer and is in an Alzheimer's home. I talked to her husband last night or the night before. And she got tickets somehow. And she asked me if I wanted to go, not even knowing that that would be one of the highlights of my entire life, you know, seeing Pavarotti. And on Pinterest, I have on there a couple YouTube videos of him singing the most favorite and the most moving music of all, which is Nessun Dorma. It's from, what's the name of that opera? I forget the name of the opera now, but starts with a T. But Bumblebee, I bet your son knows that. Yeah, that piece of music and him singing it is just, I can't even listen to it without tears. It's just because it's so moving. It's just such a moving piece. And it's not very long, but it's powerful, just powerful. Let's see here. Oh, so did somebody? Yeah. Let me see. Those are just estimated models. No one really knows the rate or depth of spread. If people shelter the curve, every day they are making progress. Yes, that's true. They need to shelter till at least that date, which ours is May 7th or something like that. I have my coffee here. Not time for my tea time yet, but I'm still on my second cup of coffee. So I know, but it was really scary to hear those numbers of 8,000 a day. I couldn't even believe it. I had to listen to it again, which wasn't good. It just seemed unbelievable to me. Then I thought about this house that I'm in. It was built in 1852. So this house was here during the last horrible flu, the Spanish flu I'm talking about. The Spanish flu, when they had no idea. Yeah, the plague, but that was way, way back. But the Spanish flu was in 1880, I think. And they didn't know, they had no idea. They didn't have the science that they have now. They had no idea how to treat it. I have no idea what they did to get rid of the Spanish flu. I'll have to read more about it to figure out what they actually did, or if it just ran its course and finally went away. But it killed an unbelievable amount of people, of course, back then. But things are so much different now. Like I said, I first looked that up, the Spanish flu, after I saw it on Downton Abbey. And one of their earlier episodes, it was right after World War I. It happened, and that could have been what started it. Soldiers coming back. I don't know what they think, but that's when it happened, and they had all about World War I and then the Spanish flu on Downton Abbey, because they dealt with history stuff when he was writing Downton Abbey. In fact, the very first episode is the day the Titanic, they got messages about the Titanic had sunk. So that's when it started. And I know that date is 1912 because that's when my mother was born. She was born the date the Titanic sunk. My father was born the year before in 1911. Yeah. To think they would be over 100 years old. Yeah. Of course. Hi, Posh Planet. Hi. You didn't get notified? Oh dear. Do you have the bell? Did you press the bell thing next to the subscribe thing? You should have got a notification. Raymond Moore, you're back. I'm doing okay. Yeah. I did sneak out to see my horses yesterday. I said I was on yesterday and told about that. How I tried to give them treats with a blue glove on and they wouldn't take it because they related that to the vet. So I had to take my glove off and hand them the treats. Yeah. But yeah, that's possibly the only place I would go. But I don't know. I got everybody from the barn. There's only 3 of us boarders at the barn. The rest all belong to the owners. She has like 6 or 7 horses. But her barn, there's only 3 of us boarders anymore. And it just fills up the barn. So she sent a message to all of us, the 3 of us, and about how they're taking care of everything. Don't worry, she won't stop anybody from coming to see their horses because she knows it's good mentally. But they aren't out amongst people at all. And it's because her husband is a pilot. He works for a private airline that they have a fleet of jets that rich people, movie stars and people you'd know, they call up and order a jet, like a taxi. And that's the company he works for. So he flies people all over, and he has flown a lot of people that you'd know all over. But his job, of course, is a really good job, and it's still going on. And so he's coming home from being out amongst people, and that's why they aren't their little family. They have one son in high school. He's home, of course, from school, and they're not getting by anybody, but they are taking care of the horses, thank God. And it's a really good barn. They take excellent care. And the vet is continuing her service. In fact, my daughter just had her horse just got his spring shots, and the vet only wants a couple people in the barn when she gets there, and everybody has to stay back, of course, the 6 feet or more. And so there's no holding your horse. She brings her helper to hold your horse. So anyway, thank God the vet isn't stopping. That's like the doctor. The doctors can't just stop working, And it's sad. I am glad I'm not a practicing nurse right now, because now several of them are getting sick, of course. It's just a scary, terrible time, but this too will pass. I have to keep thinking that. And I'm hoping I'm here on the other end of it. Yes, you have the bell on. You sent a comment, my last video, a very nice comment, and I was going to answer you about the horses. Yeah, about the horses. I was going to answer you, but I figured I was going to come on today, and if you were on, I would just tell you. I really appreciated your comment. And yeah, about Preacher. Yeah, he is. I am closer to Preacher because I've had him a long time. He's the one I used to trail ride with. He's the one I've had the longest. Now, Echo, I've had since he was 18 months old. He's 13, I think. I hope he's not older than that. So I've had him like 12, maybe 12 years or whatever. But I've had Preacher longer than that. A lot longer. So, yeah, Preacher is a sort of a grouchy old gelding now. He's old, but yeah, I know he loves me. He knows who I am. Sometimes I think they just know me because I'm the person with the treats, but when I take them out into the arena and actually play with them, I know that they know who I am. Yeah, he is an angel. I think all animals are angels in a way, in their certain ways. Dexter, I don't know what I'd do without Dexter here with me. The cats, I don't know. I've always had cats, but I've never been as close with cats as with dogs. And dogs are like horses. I'm closer with my dog than my horses, maybe. I don't know. Maybe not Preacher. But it's because the dog is living with you. The horses are someplace else. Maybe if the horses were here on the farm or my little homestead. It's only 1 square acre. I can't have horses here. There's not enough room. But I never actually lived on the same property as the horses. So, but I've always had dogs, except when I was in college, of course. But even growing up, our first dog was named Smokey. It was my parents' dog. It was a black Cocker Spaniel. They like Cocker Spaniels. His name was Smokey. And then after Smokey, they got another Cocker Spaniel, and her name was Becky, which is funny because that was my best friend's name when I worked in the ER. I don't know how we came to name her Becky, the Cocker Spaniel, back when I was a little girl. I mean, little, Well, Smokey was when I was real little, like born and 2 and 3 years old, and maybe up. I forget how late when we got Becky, but we had Becky while we were even in high school, I think. One of them went blind. I'm not sure if it was I think it was Becky. That Cocker Spaniel went blind, and I know we couldn't move the furniture because she knew her way around the house. And if you'd move one piece of furniture, she'd get confused. So, yeah. And then after that dog, we had a fox terrier, which didn't last long because it was a male and he kept raising his leg on my mother's refrigerator. And she demanded my father get rid of that dog. So I don't know. I hate to think, but probably took him to the pound back then. And I can remember him telling me about that we no longer had Skip. I think his name was Skippy. Sue's not on here right now, but Skipper, something like that. We didn't have him that long, but I remember my father. I was in the kitchen. I remember this. I was in the kitchen, and my father came up to me, and we had a parakeet, and he had the parakeet, or I had the parakeet on my finger, and he said, "That's the only pet you have anymore." That's how he told me. Yeah, that I no longer had a dog. I don't even remember how I felt about it, to tell you the truth. But anyway, it's funny, the things that you remember. When you remember one thing, it sort of leads to another thing you remember. Maybe this is an old thing. Maybe, when you're older, you think back on things more, I think. I'm at that age where, what, do you just sit and live with your memories? Is that? I haven't reached that point yet. I'm not just sitting. Yeah, he still wanted to be by me, even when the treats ran out. I know. Didn't that seem mean? Yeah, I don't know, but that's what I remember. I don't remember any sentence more than that. So it stuck with me. Last night I woke up like 7:30. I was going to get up, but then I drifted back to sleep, but not very. I drifted back enough to have a dream that lasted probably only seconds or minutes. It was a bad dream about my husband. He was doing bad. He was being bad. That whole thing came up again, Sue, she isn't here. And I woke up and said, for heaven's sakes, why did I dream that? And I think that was a stress dream. I think when you're under stress, you have dreams like, not really good dreams. But I wanted to get up right away after that. I didn't want to go back to sleep. So I've shared my closet. I did my whole thing, Bumblebee, about going on and doing a bunch of people's shares. I did my 100. And I have to go on and follow a bunch of people now. And follow some new people. I have to do that yet. And then I have to go take some more pictures of things around the house to list on eBay. I did end a bunch of items the last few days. Every day I've been ending items. Since we have 50,000 free listings now, did everybody that's on eBay get that notification? If you didn't get it on where your promotional items are, if you look around for it, I had to search for mine. I found it, but yeah, 50,000 for the rest of March and all of April. You can list as much as you want. Unfortunately, we can't get anything right now. It makes you wonder if that's why they did it. But they don't want you to cut down on listing. That's why they've done it. Because, of course, eBay makes money from us. Try to cut back a bit on the caffeine. I only have 2 cups. Oh, and there's lots of sugar in my coffee. It'll help my anxiety. I don't know. Sugar makes me happy, though. I do feel, for the moment, it's only for the moment, I know. But I don't feel as happy when I eat a salad as I do when I eat a piece of cake. Just saying. I know it's bad for stress and bad for anxiety. I know all this. It's just, I'm so addicted to sugar. It's like a drug addiction, Here, let me take a sip of coffee with sugar. It is like an addiction until you have to wean yourself down off of it. I did do, when my doctor thought I was getting borderline diabetes, and there's diabetes in my family. So it wouldn't surprise me at all if I someday got diabetes. So when my one blood count, it wasn't the blood sugar, it's the, I won't remember the name of it now. It's the one blood thing that they draw to see if what your real blood sugar is. Yeah, Darlene, especially chocolate cake, right? So mine was borderline, and he said you're on the border of borderline diabetic. Well, that's freaked me out. This was a few years back. So for, I forget how many months, I had a whole notebook I filled up daily. I counted carbs, and it did take a while to even be able to live that way. I mean, when you count carbs, you're not eating hardly any sugar, and carbs are in everything. Anything good has carbs in it, as far as I'm concerned. Under normal circumstances, I can take it, but now maybe the stress is too much. Yeah, that's for sure. The AIC, the A1C, that's it, the A1C. Right. Bumblebee, are you a health professional too? There's different little clues that you've given me about that. Are you maybe a nutritionist? Are you some sort of a healthcare? Give me a little hint if I get it right. Whole grains. If I eat a lot of whole grains and a lot of fiber, because I tried that too. It just wreaks havoc on my IBS. Yeah, I know it's supposed to be good for that, but wow. Yeah. Yeah, my A1C was like 6.1. I mean, it was just barely over the 6. But after I counted carbs for 2 months at least, maybe it was even 3 months, I had him run it again, and it was right back down again. And it's never been, I always have him run it at least every, he doesn't, you can't have it run more than every 3 months, because I think that's what it keeps track of, 3 months at a time. But somehow, I don't know how it does that, but he would have it run at least once a year after that. And I was never high again. I mean, even borderline. Bumblebee, no, just a mom, lots of men in my care. That's true. Men do need a lot of care, don't they? Oh boy. You think they tell everybody over 50 they're borderline? Well, I don't know. I didn't have any of the other, there's other things that you should watch for. I mean, people that with higher blood pressure, I do have higher blood pressure, but I'm on medication. But people with a weight problem, they're more prone to it too. And yeah, the older you get, you are. There's other things that I only had the blood pressure thing. I keep track of my blood pressure too. So during these stressful times, I do not take my blood pressure. I can tell when my blood pressure goes up. It's not only that I get hot. If my ears get hot, I can get hot here. I can feel hot and feel like my blood pressure's up. But it usually isn't up unless my ears get hot and turn red. Then that's a spike of my blood pressure. I've learned this over the years. But yeah. So I have to, I do have to take care of myself better right now. Because I sure don't want to go to the doctor, and I sure don't want to go to the ER. I don't know if I ever told you I did. This was way back when I first discovered I had anxiety, bad panic attacks. I was just driving. To Erie it was for a Mother's Day tea. I was going to go to tea at my mother's church, going to go with her to this Mother's Day tea. I was driving to Erie, and all of a sudden I got this panic attack. I have no idea why. At the time, I had no idea why. And it got so bad, I felt like I was going to die. Of course, I thought I was having a heart attack. I had all the symptoms of a big panic attack that you get. So I thought I was having a heart attack. I drove myself to the ER, which was the ER that I used to work in, which was a little embarrassing because this was a panic attack. So, yeah. So there were the people that I had, some of the people were still there that I had worked with. And yeah, it was a full-blown panic attack. So, yeah, I think that was There was one other time that I went to the ER for a panic, and it turned out to be a panic attack. I thought I was having another heart attack. And that's when I was living in this house. So it was the ER here in Medina that I went to. So I really feel for anybody that has them, because you can't tell the difference. And I'm a nurse. You know, it's better to be safe, I guess. If you have all the symptoms of having a heart attack, you know, it's better to be safe. But I do that's why I do take my anxiety pill before it gets to be too bad. That's what I have it for. Oh. Half grain oat wheat flour in your quick breads. Yeah, I could do that. Of course, I can't get to the store to get any, but I am ordering stuff to pick up at the pickup window. I think that's still safe to do, right? They load it in your trunk. They don't even come to your window or anything except to talk through your window. They handle the groceries, but I don't know. I heard if you let your groceries sit, I mean, that's if you don't have ice cream, for a while, it doesn't stay on paper very long. Who knows what's true and what's not? There's so much info going out. You don't know what's real and what's not. Yes, I had Aldi's delivers. I have them deliver most of the time, but there were a few things that I tried to get from Giant Eagle. Because they didn't have Aldi doesn't have my mint chocolate chip by Pierre's. Basically, I think that's why I put in an order for the ice cream for Giant Eagle. But then I added a whole bunch of other stuff. Turned out his potassium was low. That happened to your father-in-law on a plane. Though he had flown many times. Oh, for sure I'd have a panic attack if I ever stepped onto a plane. And his potassium was low. I take potassium. He has me on potassium. And it's always normal in my blood work. All my blood work is completely normal. My blood work is always good. I take magnesium. I take just a vitamin pill for old women. And I take a vitamin D. What else do I take? I do my calcium. I do have osteoporosis, the start of it. I didn't want to take he wanted me to do the twice a year shot for that. Has so many side effects. I'm one of those people, of course, that comes home and reads all the side effects of medication. And it just had too many that I decided not to do it. He's not happy with me about that. But he gives it to his mother. He said that's, if it wasn't safe, he wouldn't be giving it to his mother. But she's not me, Well, you can't live in a sterile, that jumped. You can't live in a sterile environment. You're just greatly reducing your chances. I know. It's smart. So many people just blindly trust the doctor. I know, right? My gut issues didn't get really fixed until I virtually see a doctor that's in Michigan. That's she's an all-natural doctor, and she's the one that found out that I was just not digesting my foods, and I take digestive enzymes before I eat anything, and that solved so many problems for me. And she's on the web a lot. Her name is Dr. Christine Kazmar, and she's in Michigan. But anyway, I went through testing with her where I sent in things. And yeah, I've been doing her stuff since I was 2 years. I was in the hospital 4 different times and had two surgeries. 2 abdominal surgeries. One took out part of my small intestine. Yeah. Bumblebee, you've had gut issues too, but not as bad now that I've gone through menopause. Well, mine started after menopause. Yeah. Yeah. Your gut has everything to do with your all kinds of things. Yeah. Dr. Kazmar, Dr. Christine, she likes to be called. She's a hoot, let me tell you. But she sure is smart. She does not believe at all in this, in the medical, what does she call it? All the pharmaceutical stuff and all the medical something, she calls it. Not to follow blindly what your doctor says, you know. Yeah, like 80% of your immune system's in your gut. Yeah. Darlene, I don't know if it's anxiety, but I can't go in an MRI machine anymore. Oh, and a sedative had no effect on you. Oh, see, the MRI, well, I haven't had one for a couple years, but that never bothered me at all, the MRI. But you know what bothers me? Having somebody else take my blood pressure. I have white coat syndrome, and I'm a nurse. Talk about spiking your blood pressure. It's all it takes is somebody else to take my blood pressure. In fact, anybody that wants to take my blood pressure, I refuse to have it taken. And what I do is I just take my little machine that keeps a memory of my blood pressure when I take it. I take that into my doctor. He writes it down. And I guess he's satisfied with that. I don't know. Yeah, it's so strange that would happen. I'm a nurse, for heaven's sakes. Yeah, we make the worst patients. That's for sure. I'm sure he's not real happy with me. I question almost everything. And he does have a lot. I noticed when I was there last, it's been almost the 6 or 4 months now before this all started that he sees me every 4 months. I'm probably due. But I noticed his waiting room is full of old people. It always seems like they're old people, and I don't count me. Oh, I'm sure most of them are just saying yes sir, yes sir. But they probably weren't nurses either. That was back when I first started in nursing. Doctors were kings. Yeah, it was completely different than it is right now. Yeah, completely different. If you want to see how things are right now, watch The Resident. It's a series on TV. I love that show. That's how things are now between nurses and doctors. And it's mostly about the doctors, that program, but you can see it. Nurses no longer just are quiet and say yes sir, for sure. And I'll tell you what, it is the truth that we saved a whole lot of doctors' butts. Yeah. Posh Planet, are you a nurse? I feel you were a nurse. Oh yeah, they're just fallible humans. Yeah, they are. We had a couple doctors that were just horrible. Nurses were afraid to go into the rooms with them. They were still back where they thought that they were, they were thought that they could never be wrong. One was an ENT doctor. He's probably dead now. His name was Dr. Smith. God, he would throw instruments at you. And the other was a pulmonary surgeon. The main reason why we never wanted anybody to come in with a collapsed lung, because he was the one to call and nobody wanted to work with him. Yeah. Going back to a previous comment you made, I think it's good for you to list items from your house as it brings a variety to your store. But I could send you a box anytime. Okay. You can send a box anytime, Bumblebee. But I am sorting out things. And I am going to do that video of me shopping in my closet, because I think that could be sort of a fun recorded video. Here's Darlene. I opened my eyes once and saw that lid so close to face, I had to get out. Oh, the MRI. A third of the patients can't finish. I had a brother-in-law could not go in it, for sure. Yeah. I don't know why I never had a problem with that, but hopefully I won't. Oh, you're a retired nursing assistant. Yeah. Yeah, you can tell the nurses. I thought Bumblebee. She said a few things on here that I thought maybe she was a nurse too. But she says not. Oh, I'm happy I don't work now too. Some of the doctors are so nice and some were so evil when I was in, right. Oh, you worked at home health care hospice. Yeah, well, God bless you. Because we had hospice for my mom and then for my husband. Yeah. I don't know if I could have done that. Not that I couldn't have done it. I could have done it, but I just liked the ER. I liked the ER because it was different all the time. It was different from 1 hour to the next, from one day to the next. It was completely different. Oh, your caps got locked on. Okay. Oh, your degree's in ornamental horticulture. Oh, my. So you're a big gardener. You have a big garden. Do you have a big vegetable garden too? I mean, that's not vegetable gardening, I guess, but it's gardening, horticulture. Yeah, it seems to me I should be out. You know what made me think I should be out in my garden? I have 2 raised garden beds. I should be turning them over, adding seeing if I can get to the compost bottom where the good dirt is, adding some of that, and start thinking about planting some of the things that can be planted really early. Yeah. I don't know if I have enough strength to turn over the soil, though, because I threw a bunch of these straw from my chicken coop on top of there. Even though it's short little pieces, I want to turn that over into the garden and then add dirt. Wonder if I can have dirt delivered. Sure, I bet I can. I bet I can have a big pile of dirt delivered. But then I'd need somebody to help me. And nobody's allowed at my house right now. Oh, your husband has the same degree and he's kind of taken over the yard. So I just let him putter. Yeah. Yeah. My husband was not a yard person at all. The only thing he did was mow the lawn on the riding mower. That was the extent of his outside. Although when we moved here and I wanted a garden put in, I had a huge garden back then. It was at least 20 feet by 30 feet in the ground, maybe even bigger, but I think it was 20 by 30. And he bought me, I think for my birthday one time, a Troy-built rototiller. It was big. I mean, a great big rototiller. And of course, when you first rototill, it's hard to handle. So he did rototill it down up until I could manage it. I was in like 50 back then. I was strong. I was able to do that kind of stuff. Once I got older, after my husband died, I got older. I couldn't handle that big machine anymore. So I sold my Troy-built and bought a little Mantis tiller because I only have these couple raised beds now. And it's fine for that. Yeah. You can't do it anymore either because of arthritis. Yeah, fibro. Yeah, I know. It's so hard. You know, if I'd go and try to turn the soil over, even if I just try a little bit at a time, it would just kill my back. So, I don't know. Last year, I had my handyman do it. Last couple of years, in fact. But nobody's coming over right now. And it's going to go past the time when you're supposed to plant, I suppose. I could plant a couple pots. I don't have any seeds. I can order those. I can order seeds from Tractor Supply. And they will, when I pick up chicken feed and chicken scratch, I can put an order in for seeds and things. They bring it out to your car. You pay online. They bring it out, put it in your trunk. So there's no contact with people. Yeah, the golden years. What a joke. Yeah. Anyway, I guess I'll go and see how the chickens are doing out there. They don't seem to be, they're still scratching and pecking around the big yard, so I guess they're okay. There's 3 of them, though, that probably want to get over there. They stayed in to lay their eggs. I got 8 eggs yesterday. 8. I took a picture of them in the basket, and I'm going to put it on. I'll put it on Instagram and Facebook. It was an 8-egg day yesterday. I have 8 hens, but one of them, there's certain breeds that don't lay every single day. They may lay like 5 days a week, you know. So most of the time I have 6 or 7 eggs a day. But yesterday was an 8-egg day. Already I have a dozen and a half eggs. And I just took Judy, when I went to see the horses, I just took her all my eggs that I had. And then since then, I already have a dozen and a half eggs. So I'm going to make some egg salad. Indoor seed garden. Yeah. I used to plant. I have growing lights downstairs in the basement. I had that set up all one year. And I planted a lot of seeds down there until they, got so I could make them cold hardy outside. I used to have a thing that my husband built. It was like a little hothouse out there. It was built with a window, with a big window that you lifted up. It's on the ground. You lifted it up and you'd put things in it. It was in the sun so that it would, you could make your plants that you take out from inside, you could make them cold hardy. Yeah, it's about time we start doing that. Well, actually, February is when I should have started planting seeds downstairs. I need an arrow garden. It would make me feel better to do some planting. It's always such a positive thing. I do drink a lot of water. Besides my 2 cups of coffee, besides that, and my cup of tea, I drink green tea, which is healthy, right? Green tea, mostly decaffeinated. And the rest of the day, I'm sipping on water. So I do drink water. It's another thing you're supposed to do for this darn stuff. Keep sipping on water. The virus can't live in your stomach. I could grow little lettuces and sprouts down there. I know. I have some, well, they may not be good anymore. I think they're 2 years old now. I sent for grains, sprouting grains. They may be okay, but they were for the chickens to grow the sprouts. Yeah, that's mostly what I drink is green tea. My daughter has started to drink green tea now, and she was a huge Starbucks addict. She would be a daily Starbucks visitor. They would still sprout. I have the jars and everything to do them in. I have little jars, and then I got the lids with the netting on the top. Yeah, I know how to do that, and I did grow sprouts for the chickens. It took me, it takes a couple weeks to grow sprouts big enough for your chickens, and then they eat them so fast. I couldn't grow them fast enough. I needed a big tray is what I needed. And I need a tray that I can put. I saw on one of the chicken websites, they had a big tray for out where the chickens are, and the sprouts would grow up, and the chickens could only get the top parts of the sprouts, and they couldn't go down and eat the seed and not everything, because that's what they do. They eat everything. So then they're gone. Then you have to start over again. Yeah. You would have 3/4 acre of beautiful flower beds. There's no way I have the pictures anymore. I had it on video, and they are on my memories video now. But when we first moved here, I spent the first 2 years making gardens. I had huge perennial gardens all around my acre here. And that huge vegetable garden, I had huge flower gardens, mostly perennials, but of course you have to add annuals to have, color all the time. But they just went, when my husband got sick and I couldn't really do much outside, all it took was one summer of not doing anything in the garden. And the ivy, which was just waiting in the background, the ivy just took over the gardens, perennial gardens, and there's nothing left now. It's all ivy, thick ivy. So no more perennial gardens except for my front garden. I do keep that. And that's where I put I had a huge herb garden too in back of the garage. Big herb garden. But that sort of got neglected too. That got taken over. And now there's just pasture grass planted in there for the chickens. But my herbs are now in the front garden. It gets the most sun, and that's where most of my gardening goes on out there. Because, of course, those damn thistles, they are my scourge of the garden world. Thistles. Once they start, there's no way of getting rid of them, because their roots go, here's the thistle. The roots go sidewards, and then they pop up over here. You can't just dig this one out because the roots have gone over here. And it's just a never-ending thing. And since I don't use weed killer, that type of weed killer, I mean, back when I didn't have chickens, back when we didn't hear about Roundup, how horrible it was, you could take Roundup and squirt it down into the roots, and I guess finally kill it. I don't know, but it has just really overtaken my gardens, and all you can do is just keep digging them out. It's a full-time job to keep the thistles out of the garden. They're right, they are obnoxious. Oh. Yeah, it tires me out to think about all I've been through. And it doesn't help to get depressed. The days I'm depressed, that's exhausting in itself. All you do is feel like going to bed. You think, what's the use? Especially, during this time. What is the use? It's just horrible, everything you hear. So I'm sort of burying my head in the sand and not listening to the news, just the flash by summaries. And my daughter will tell me if anything big happens, like we're being bombed or something. I guess it's going to be what it's going to be. I'm doing my part. I'm staying put. It's all I can do. I'm going to keep my daughter from going under. My son is going to be fine. And my grandkids and my granddaughter. Yeah. My sister is going to be fine. Although she does not stay in the house like she should. Sue, if you see this, you're not on here right now, but I'm telling on you. She still goes to the grocery store. She's just not taking it as, and she's a nurse too. She's not taking it as seriously as I am. I'm almost living like, I'm treating everything like I learned to do a sterile environment. Read up. Yeah, it's too horrible to listen to on the TV. It's too frightening. So I'm sure the president came on because the bill passed, or the thing about the money passed, and he'll be all happy about that. And that'll be about that will be about his whole speech today will be about that. So that won't be so bad to have watched, but I don't know. I think I missed his afternoon thing. Well, maybe he's just coming on in the evening, because I noticed he was coming on in the evening the last few days. But I really don't try to listen to anything. He's been so flippant about it. I think it's he sort of almost has this Pollyanna attitude about things are getting so much better, and things haven't even peaked yet. You know, my governor is like the exact opposite of him. But I know the president wants to keep everybody sort of upbeat, you know. Yeah, well, that's to do with him, because he thinks he's fantastic and marvelous. It's just, it's his personality. Yeah. You can't fool me. Things aren't marvelous out there. So once he starts that talk, and once he starts saying what he's done and what, I just turned him off. This was before, when I was listening at all. But yeah, he's talking about it ending and sending people back to work. And and it hasn't even peaked yet. See, I don't get that, but we have a wonderful woman that's the head of the health department of Ohio. Her name, she's getting to be real popular on Facebook. Everybody likes her. Her name is Dr. Amy Atkins. She has the most calming voice ever. And it's not that she's saying calming things. She's telling how bad it is, and she's telling it like it is. But she does it in a really calm way. And that's why I think she's become so popular. It's like FDR's fireside chats. Yeah. Who's a germaphobe? The president's a germaphobe? Maybe. You'd think that he would be hysterical. You'd think he would have gotten the test much earlier than he did. He didn't want people to blame him for getting it because he's the president. I just secretly think he probably did. I also doubt if he'd Wait a minute. Let me read this. I also doubt he'd turn it all on full blast. Yeah, Trump. Trump's a germaphobe? Huh. I can see that. Darlene, I was so healthy, I never had to even go to the doctor up till 8 years ago. Then frozen shoulder in both arms. Ooh, ouch. Rotator cuff surgery. That is the most painful. Rotator cuffs and knees. The most painful thing. Nose polyps removed, 3 lung cancer surgeries, and I'm still here grinning. You go, girl. I know. I was fine too until I had this gut issue. I didn't do well when I turned 70. With 71 and 72 were my 2 years that I spent a lot of time in the hospital and going to the digestive doctors and getting that horrible test. I'm not having any more of that. I'm sorry. They got their 3. That's all they're getting. It may be dumb, but the prep will just kill you. Trump means well. It's just it is his personality. Yeah, he's no different than he was on the program he had where he fired people. What was it? His TV series, it was the best of anything. Yeah, he's no different, really. My sister loves Trump. But anyway, it was rotator cuff was the worst. Yep. Thank God a nurse told me what I was in for. Yeah. Oh. The last person I know that had both my farrier, and you can see getting yanked around by a horse, being a farrier your whole life. I believe he just had last year rotator cuff surgery, and the horse's dentist. And I think that was part Preacher's fault. Preacher is scared to death of the dentist, just like me. And he yanked him around so badly a few times that I was there trying to hold him. I'm sure Preacher was one of the ones that sent him for rotator cuff surgery. Yeah. Echo, on the other hand, doesn't mind at all. He's so curious of what in the earth they're doing in there. Preacher gets sedated now for the dentist. Yeah, it's better. Less stressful on both of them, Preacher and the dentist. But they both do well with the farrier. That's no problem. See, you knew Preacher was smart. I know. I am horrible. That'll send me into I have to take my panic pill just to get to the dentist. Yeah. I've never liked dentists, and it's from when I was a child. It's from my father used to take us as children to his dentist, who wasn't they didn't have children's dentists back then. You just went to the dentist. There weren't specialized dentists for children. So my father was the one to take us to the dentist, and he took us to his dentist, who was not gentle and didn't take any guff from any kids. And he was horrible with kids. Horrible. My sister bit him. My sister, Sue, I'm telling on you again. My sister bit the dentist, and he refused to take care of her anymore. Then my mother had to take us to her dentist, who was much better. But by that time, it had set a precedent with me anyway. My sister doesn't seem to be scared of the dentist. I mean, I don't think anybody likes it, but I have dentophobia. I mean, it's good for her. Yeah, she got us switched. She got us switched to a better dentist. And that's who I went to all the way up to when I left to go in nurses training. So he was okay. He was gentle, at least. So this is funny. Yeah. Does seem almost like being normal coming on here and talking. Oh, I have to read bumblebees. Yeah. The country can get scared and nuts on its own. We need somebody to have the broad shoulders to help give us hope. That's true. I think that's what he is trying to do. I think he doesn't need to create more panic. That's for sure. I don't think my governor thinks that way, though. But he just tells it like it is. I mean, he's not sugarcoating anything, that's for sure. But I'm glad as his sidekick, he has the health department head, Dr. Amy. Everybody knows her here now in Ohio. Yeah, I have found myself a good female dentist who's very aware of my dentophobia. And I even think it helps that she's a woman, to tell you the truth. She's very gentle. She knows to practically medicate me before I even get into her chair. And yeah, I can't even take, when I get the Novocaine, the xylocaine, it has to be without the, oh my God, without the epinephrine. The xylocaine always has epinephrine in with it to help if there's any bleeding, it stops any bleeding. But I have to remind her every single time to give it to me without the epi in it, because that will start my heart racing, which will send me right into a panic attack. So yeah, she learned that. We learned that right up front. So yeah. So I do have the best dentist for me, I think. So did you see pirate ship comments? I saw that we were going to tackle that today. I didn't see anything other than that. Are you going to email me something? Email me something. And I'll start looking into it. Yeah. So what I've got to do today is sign my tax documents and send them out to the government, Ohio and the feds. Oh, after that? Oh dear, I have to go back here. Wait. That was way back here. It's going to take me way too long to find that way back here. I don't want to. Yeah, just email me because I can concentrate better if you email me stuff. I'll find it after when I re-listen, when I re-put this on. When it comes on again, I'll be able to read these. Yeah, it's lost back there somewhere. I'm sorry. Is it 201? Okay. Wait. That helps. Let me go back to 201. 203, 201. Yeah, you said about the project, and then you said the 201 I have was the error about the thermometer. It's the only 201 one I have. That was the only 201. Just email me. Yeah. Yeah. Well, I can email back and forth or message back and forth. Do you message? Anyway, I'm going to close, I think, for now. Go put my chickens back where they go. This morning, really early, when I was still up and just got out of the shower and was getting dressed, I looked out the window and saw a huge, it looked as big as an eagle. I'm sure it was a hawk. And then he went into the highest pine tree way over near the road. And I thought, I'm going to wait a while before I put my chickens out in the yard. Because there's no leaves on the trees yet to sort of hide them. There's a couple places they can run out there, the coop being one of them. I have a second little coop. But, yeah, they come fast and silent. So I'm going to go and put them back in their safer run. And I will close for now. Thank you all for coming on. This really helps me for sure. And go on and try to find a thermometer and just order one to come whenever, I guess. So I have one. I mean, I do have one, but it's as old as the other one. I think I probably broke mine from running it under too warm of water. So bye for now. Bye, Bumblebee. Yeah, you can send me a box whenever you want. And I'll see you all tomorrow. Bye.